GSL Season 2.
We're back. It's time to eliminate one of these players.
Yes, Tasteless, the first player going to be eliminated here in the round of 8, Classic or Clem. And this is just it's ridiculous. This is an elimination match of the GSL, even in the round of 8. Classic versus Clem, are you kidding me? One of the best Chronos players of all time versus one of the best Terran players of all time. This is going to be a lot of fun. I don't know exactly how this series is going to shape out.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, Classic has played a much more withdrawn style. I mean, again, this was kind of the big narrative. The big matchup last year was PVT and the controversy around it. And like, can Terrans beat Protoss, or Protoss is just broken? To which Reddit went, yes. But we don't know if that's the case right now. We don't know. I mean, the reality is like, can Classic kind of still try to take the whole map? Can he play Hungry Hippos and just gobble up all the marbles on the map?
All the bases,
all
the
minerals.
Keep
hitting the button and it takes all the bases. Or is it going to be a game, where Clem can have some sharp attacks and get in there and do the damage? By the way, Clem seems to have like the best understanding of this matchup right now. He does look different than the way the Koreans play it on both sides. Anyways, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I wonder exactly what it's going to look like, because if we played this series a couple of patches ago, I think I would give Classic the edge just because Protoss was so defensively masterful. But now I think in the current map pool, Terran has a lot more options, especially in the early game, to actually get damage done. Removing shield battery, I know it's been a long time now, but removing the overcharge on that has been huge. And I guess that was when I was casting most of my games between Classic and Clem, was back in that era of StarCraft 2. So I'm wondering now, in modern PVT, what form this take, because typically, by the course of this GSL and the previous GSL season, they have to win in either the early game or in the late game. The mid game, unless you get some huge early advantage, it's going to be heavily Protoss favored. But Clem is the best multitasking in the world. Yeah,
he also really knows how to kind of bleed the Protoss out. So I'm not sure. Keep in mind as well, I mean, it's funny. This is the first time we're going to see Clem playing Terran now.
Yeah.
Today. And at this point in time, I'm almost like, I can feel my mind like morphing into believing that Clem is a Protoss player, even though really he is a Terran main. But yeah, let's see what ideas he's got here. He had some great games in 2025 as well, looking very strong. And of course, Classic's going to be really hungry to win here, because Classic, after having a great run last year, is in a lot more of a challenging spot. Yeah, after we wrapped GSL in 2025, it was some months before we came back here for 2026. And that did have very good results, but nowhere near his peak performance in the previous patches. And I think the Classic might have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder right now coming into this GSL, especially after losing the first series to Hero. He doesn't want to be eliminated in the round of 8. He wants to go back to the round of 4. That is basically where his class is, So this is going to be a very up and down matchup, I think, between these two. Yeah, honestly, I want Clem to win here. I want Clem. Sorry, Classic. Sorry, Cure. It would just be so hyped to have a foreigner here in the offline finals for GSL. We don't have a lot of offline anything right now for StarCraft 2. And man, would it be hyped to have something that had that kind of international flavor. It really would. I mean, honestly, I can imagine a lot of European fans staying up late to watch the GSL live instead of watching the Vonza on YouTube to pick that up. Because that's right. Getting a player like Clem in the round of 4 offline finals, seeing him on the stage, seeing if we're finally going to have a foreign champion in the GSL would be huge, because non-Korean players have been playing in the GSL for the majority of the GSL. Most years, somebody is trying to do it, and no one's ever been able to. It's been one of the unbroken rules of GSL. And we started out where we had, like we were talking about this earlier today, Jinro getting top 4. Mm-hmm.
Artosis made a Code S.
Artosis made a Code S. I remember that because I was solo casting while he was busy getting his ass whooped. I remember thinking, I'm doing a little bit too much extra work today. But we had all these foreigners that showed up that competed, Hydra. We're going all back to all the OGs. Then, and Blizzard changed the whole format where, there was suddenly, Koreans that were now in the NA division or the EU division. That was maybe like one of the weirdest, most poorly organized moments in StarCraft. And then eventually that got phased out, right? But then it was kind of Korea doing Korea stuff, right? Occasionally we'd have a foreigner out here competing like Scarlet, more recently Raynor. But none of those players, No Regret, another example, none of those players ever won a GSL, which is kind of crazy because there's been a lot of GSLs.
Yeah, I think the closest that anybody gone after Jinra was Neeb. I can't remember if Neeb got a round of 4. I think that he might have gotten, he might have even won a super tournament or something.
He won something Spo was doing, and now I can't.
Was it not a super tournament? There have been so many GSLs and so many GSL events.
Tournament?
It's possible.
I don't know if we really count that.
No, that's not a Code S title.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
totally
it's a little bit
weekend
different
tournament. But we've never had a foreign champion, is I guess.
Yeah. For what what we're doing now, or when this tournament was a little bit bigger, we never had a foreigner win that, and it's kind of crazy because in my head I thought, well, this is just eventually going to happen, right? And by the way, foreigners have dominated in StarCraft 2 now, just not in this tournament. And obviously, this is a very Korean-heavy tournament. It's in Korea. A good amount of it's been offline, right? So you'd have to be here. And by the way, you have to be here for a while to compete in Code S. This is
It's always been that way.
It's in what I call an episodic tournament, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not like 4 days and a lot of matches, and then we're done. We pack it up and we go to the next tournament. That's been another thing that's been in the way. But even then, special competing in multiple GSs. A lot of these fantastic foreigners were not able to do it. So, for me personally, that's kind of what I'm hoping for, is just to see a foreigner play, and maybe Clem wins it, maybe not, but I don't know. It would be pretty hype.
Yeah, and to talk a little bit more about the GSL, it is kind of the silver lining, I suppose, to having the majority of the tournament now being an online tournament, is just the fact that we actually can have a player like Clem participating in the round of 12 and the round of 8. Obviously it would be perfect to have a live audience and be able to play in the stage in the big arena, but in the current state of StarCraft 2, and just not the way it is. We have to have the offline finals and accept that. But to have Clem here now in the round of 8, who knows? He might not, because of the GSL formerly being so episodic and being purely played offline. He might have never had the chance unless he decided to come out to Korea and live here again. So now it's going to be Clem trying for a Hail Mary here versus Classic. He has to defeat both Classic and Cure to advance into the round of 4 offline finals.
Our boy is changing the, wait a minute, in Europe? AC? All right, now we're talking. So much of Europe, no AC state. Did you know that?
Clem's a gamer, man. You can't be... Look at Gumiho, dude. He's got the towel on his hand. He's trying to keep that mouse dry. Clem can't be trying to stutter step Marines with his slippery, greasy hand.
You can't have that. You can't have it. Now, Classic going with the fan in the background, possibly comboed with the aircon as well.
I guarantee it is. Every Korean apartment's got air conditioning.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than... I don't know how anybody does it without air conditioning.
You couldn't do it. You couldn't survive in Korea without air conditioning. And by the way, this is how you know the summer is finally here, is when we had Hero and Classic in the first match. The webcam comes on and both of them have this gigantic fan behind their chair.
Yeah, just a giant window unit.
I don't think we ever had that in the GSL Season 1 or Season 2 up until this point. There haven't been very many fans, but it's getting toasty here in Korea.
No, we have the fans set up in my house, too. This is also, that like the real summer's here, when people start getting sick because they turn their air conditioning on really high and then fall asleep and they end up getting too cold.
This will 100% be me. If I miss days in the GSL or the RSL, this is why it's going to happen.
Yeah, no, this is, it's happened, not every year, but it definitely happens to me where, like, I take a nap and it's, like, just steaming hot in my house. And then I, take a nap and I wake up feverish.
I have not been able, I cannot sleep unless it is cool in my apartment. It needs to be, like, ideally 18 or 19 degrees Celsius. Like, I need to sleep
generally,
in a fridge.
they say that your room should be cold, but your body should be warm. Like, you should be in a warm blanket or some warm jammies you're wearing.
Warm blanket's the way to do it.
Yeah, warm blanket, covered up. It's been proven.
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that, actually. That was just the way that I slept.
If you can't fall asleep, first of all, make the room cool. Second of all, make yourself kind of warm.
If it's above 20 degrees Celsius, I have such a hard time falling asleep. I know that sounds insane, but like it has to be cool in my room.
No, the room has to be cold, in my opinion. It can be too cold though. There is issues with that too. But I find it okay. Like if it's winter time, I'll have my jammies on. I got a whole bunch of different jammies. I'm doing a whole jammy game now. Okay. I was anti-jammy for a long time, and I kind of changed this year. And part of it is just like, it's nice when it's just winter cold, and I got my warm blanket, but I got some nice warm jammies.
Okay.
And it feels nice. That's better than being naked under the covers.
All right.
Because sometimes I gotta throw a leg out. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit.
Gotta throw a leg out.
I throw a leg out. Sometimes I'm like, okay, this part of my body is gonna be, because I'll put a leg out to cool off. But sometimes that leg gets too cold.
That's really the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. The pause is over. Game number 1 between Classic and Clem. Loading up.
Just taking the length of a game to get this game going. All right. So we have yet another PVT here. This time, remember, Clem is the Terran. Classic now, the Protoss here. Clem doing the whole entirety of PVT today.
And a cheeky little 2-gas opening coming in here for Clem. So going to be a pretty fast tech up for our Terran player. And I wonder what form this will take in the early game in terms of trying to control the economy here of Protoss. Kira earlier on in his series, I think most of them were 2-gas, although game 1 might have been a 1-gas opening. It's all getting a little bit fuzzy now with the PVTs we've been casting. He transposed from that into Siege Tank Push basically every single time, but he got there in different ways. Sometimes he would go for Riddle Mine harassment, sometimes Raven, sometimes a mix of both. In a couple of games, he also mixed in the Reaper and the Hellion harassment, whether it be at the natural expansion or in the third base. There are a lot of different tools in the belt here for Terran to try and just throw a wrench into the works of the Protoss economy. And I feel like, similar to PvZ, a lot of it comes down to whether the Terran can actually successfully disrupt the economy from Protoss. Because if Classic is able to parry whatever it is that Clem throws out with this 2-gas opening, Classic is going to be in a really good spot to try and hold whatever the eventual push or pressure from Clem will be.
So this probe has gone all the way down into the bottom here. And Classic's just going to lurk down there. He'll come up here, and he'll see with the timing of this. Oh, he does. I think you can see the factory if you go up. Maybe not.
If you perfectly get it in the nook between the supply depot and the barracks, you might be able to spot it.
Wow, the placement actually for Clem is literally like perfect. I don't know that the Protoss got any extra information there. Which, by the way, I think everybody should be playing like this. Like, sometimes I just see these games where they run up the ramp, and I'm like, yeah, don't show them that. Just know the exact vision distance that the probe has, and they'll never get any extra information. Even if what you're doing is predictable, you're still making them guess. Sometimes people will, like, just see a certain amount and kind of play very deterministically. Or assume, okay, I didn't see anything there. He really is doing something weird. Like, I didn't at least see a factory, a starport, or a command center, right? But yeah, we've had a lot of games where it's not like that. All right, he's going to fire down at this Reaper.
Yeah, Classic with a couple of early Stalkers trying to wrest map control back from this Reaper. Classic is going into Blink. No second gateway and no Robo just yet here for Classic. Only just now is he throwing down the second Robo. And I believe also the Robo Bay here at the natural wall in. So very exposed. Should Clem decide to go into some kind of push later on, it will certainly be a threat. And Clem's going to spot that right now with this Reaper coming into the natural.
Okay, Reaper's going to come up here now. By the way, the fourth gate's going to come down.
A third gate, I think.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. I don't think we have a fast
I'm sorry.
second
Okay,
gateway.
it's a 3-gate.
No, it's odd because the second gateway was kind of delayed, it seemed like, for Classic in this one.
So he's moving up here now. How prepared is Classic for this? Just one Stalker, the other one's recall back. And he's going to get at least, what, 20% damage onto that medevac? Not bad. Terran never even got to fire a shot into the workers.
Yeah, well handled there by Classic, but it did force a recall. And oh, now Clem able to isolate these Stalkers on the low ground. Classic focused on dealing with the Reaper in the main base. Will lose at least one Stalker. The second is now on the run. Blink's still maybe 30 seconds away, so I think the Cyclone, yeah, it will be able to chase this down. It'll catch a brief respite here in the line of sight blocker, but I mean, the Cyclone's got to have this.
Okay, finally kills that off, picks up, and goes back home. So Classic going for a Warp Prism, going for a third Nexus.
Blink is done. If Classic tries, he might be able to get a little bit more damage done on this, but no, he's going to the natural expansion instead.
Okay, now an auto turret's going to come in here. So, you know, Clem is getting his jabs in right now.
This is a very good early game for Clem. He's already been able to take down 2 Stalkers, a couple of probes fall as well. Get a 3rd Stalker here if he's lucky. And the siege tank count is already getting quite high. We have 2 siege tanks done already. The 3rd is about to finish up. Classic on his side of the map, adding in the 3rd base, going for a very fast robotics base. So this is telling us that Classic wants to hold the first move out from Clem, the first significant move out from Clem with Colossi. But you know, looking at the infrastructure here for Clem, I think he might be able to move out either right before that Colossus is done or while it is still in production. That's a very fragile time for Protoss, especially with a robotics facility so far in the front of the natural expansion.
Oh my god, this Warp Prism's still taking damage. Somehow the Cyclone's still in the game. He's going to go ahead and repair that.
Well, if all the Marines go down to the natural expansion, Classic could actually... he could have actually gotten on top of this with those 4 Stalkers, but of course Classic does not know.
Meanwhile, we've got that Colossus tech coming along here. And Classic just goes with the recall. I think that's the right move. Here comes the push. Very similar ideas to what Kier did. No SCV pulse. Stim, this actually might be a little bit mistimed. I think he's going to end up in an engagement right before Stim's done. The Raven goes down. Ooh, great control here by Clem. A scan here. He knows there must be an observer over me, so he gets the kill on that. No tank sieging. And, you know, he's going to be in a position where he can siege up here. The Colossus is out.
Colossus is done. Stalkers blink forward, able to take down the first siege tank. Second one will also get focused fire down, but at the cost of a lot of these Stalkers' lives. And now the Colossus also going to drop to the Cyclone and the Marauder after the siege tanks just shelled it from a distance. And now the 3rd base under huge threat. It's just 3 Stalkers and 1 sentry here for Classic.
Stim is done. Oh my god, he's going to get the deny on the warp in twice. That might not give him enough time to save the Nexus. Zealot's going to come down here. They're going to dive on the tanks. The stutter step micro is real. And GG. Clem with a very precise TVP there. Getting, you know, a couple jabs in with a follow-up knockout punch. And Classic, you know, it's so crazy how different TVP looks now when Terrans win. They are winning with pushes that end the game faster than any TVZs we're used to. You know what I'm saying?
It's a very fast-paced matchup if Terran decides they want to try and end the game early, because either the push wins, and obviously the Protoss is out of the game, or as we saw with Cure, you know, you go for the push, and if it fails, I mean, the pendulum just swings right on back. Usually it is a short-lived game regardless. But Clem, well executed there in game number 1. I mean, honestly, just a beautifully played game with a Cyclone and Marines. He wasn't able to find the economic damage done on Classic side of the map, but even just being able to pick off 2 Stalkers the way that he did, I mean, that is a very big value add for Terran. And the Raven also getting just a handful of probes. So much of Protoss holding on against pressure like that in the early game just relies on them having a clean start without losing Stalkers, without losing probes, without getting too significantly disrupted economically. And if Clem could just continue to approach these matchups on Ruby Rock and 10,000 feet with that kind of style, Clem's going to be in a very good position to go to the final match.
What tea is Classic drinking here?
I'm going to look, actually.
Looks maybe Earl Grey or something?
I would be shocked if it was Earl Grey.
Why would you be shocked?
I feel like most of the Korean folks that I know who will be drinking tea will either be having barley tea at home or green tea. I mean, that's kind of deterministic, but just in my experience, having lived in Korean tea houses, it's...
I'm drinking green tea right now.
I've also got my own
green tea gamers over here.
It's nice.
But it looks a little bit dark.
Of caffeine. Oh, was it?
It looks pretty dark. I mean, the thing is, you know, different when you're playing, right? I mean, you really want to be kind of zooted up on caffeine.
Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is an Earl Grey. Now I see this.
Can't be chamomile or something like that. You're not like, I need to relax.
Don't want that melatonin.
No.
I do have chamomile at home, though. I'll have that sometimes if I'm
be like
struggling to sleep.
I drink that when I have my jammies on.
You do?
Yeah.
I don't have any proper jammies. I guess I got sweatpants, but it's close enough for me.
No, I have have pajamas like I'm a child. Okay, like the pants. Pants match the top.
Like a Thomas the Tank Engine kind of.
Yeah. Just
Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Just stuff like that. I look like it looks like Christmas present wrapping. It's all it's all very cute. Okay, so into this game, it's going to be quick tech, probably with the command center right after it.
Classic on the hunt for this SCV, by the way.
Yeah, can't quite get him. Going to go for the other weak SCV.
Oh, this probe's a fighter. It is just bullying these SCVs right now.
By the way, this is like, you do not want to lose 2 SCVs early here. Oh!
I feel like part of this is Clem just being like, I want all my workers to be mining, so I'm not going to have an SCV following the probe all the time. But now we have 2 SCVs that are just kind of running around.
It's a lot of lost mining time.
I mean, you could also just repair the SCV. Clem's smarter than me. He's going to be doing this for a good reason, but it does look very funny, doesn't it?
This doesn't look great for Terran not mining this much.
I mean, intuition tells me, oh, by the way, Recall should be able to save the probe here.
Like tries to throw a nade in there, too. That's so funny.
Imagine the nade gets recalled back, disrupts the whole Protoss mineral line.
All right. So we're going to have the CC thrown down here as well. It's going to be Reaper probably into Hellion. Well, I say that, but we actually had some Reaper games where it was straight into Tech Lab. So we'll see. We'll see what Clem does.
Yeah, I think with the second Reaper, it likely will be a Hellion play. It's just how many Hellions are we actually going to have here from Clem? We had Kira go for 2 different Hellion builds. One was with, I can't remember how many Hellions and Reapers, but it was more than just 1 Hellion and 2 Reapers, where he tried to set up for an attack at the 3rd base of Protoss. But I think if you go for this variant with just 2 Reapers and 1 Hellion, you dive at the natural expansion as fast as possible and try and get damage done. And this might be Clem responding to what he scouted from Classic in game number 1, because in game number 1, Classic did not have the shield battery here at the natural expansion. He actually completely skipped the battery early. And Clem is one of the Protoss players when he does play PvT, where he will throw down the battery specifically to deal with that build. So perhaps Clem just making a little bit of a read on Classic. That's deciding how he plays game number 2.
I want to see what adjustments Classic is going to come into this with. There's something about it. I can't put my finger on it yet. I find that like some of the games I've cast today have been a little bit trickier to follow compared to other days of GSL. But like, for instance, Clem perfectly held off Kira's attack. The SCV pulls as well. There was 18 SCVs pulled in that. And like literally it was like 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots. I barely held it. I never even used my workers to defend. And then we're having these other games where it's either Kira or Clem pushing, and Protoss are just getting split wide open.
Yeah, again, I think so much of it just comes down to exactly how things shake out in the early game.
Yeah, I guess you get a couple of extra worker kills here and there. When you hear some players, like if you listen to Home Story Cup and you hear pro gamers talking, a lot of people complain. They'll be like, oh, he lost 3 workers, this game's over. And people are like, no, it's not. Like, why are you saying that? But like, that's kind of how you're actually supposed to look at a game. Can you just go all the way to the corner and burrow this? Ooh. Yeah, that's kind of how you're supposed to look at this. This is so ambitious. Can this actually work? No. Okay. But, yeah, I mean, at the highest level of play, it's like, well, you lost 4 workers here, and then you lost 2 more over there, and you didn't have to lose those. And now this push is going to come out, and both of you guys didn't miss a beat, and this person has, 2 more Stalkers than you, or whatever the number. He's going to get another tank out a little bit sooner, and then the game ends. Yeah. And maybe that's it. Maybe it's just this really tight style of play, no mistakes being made, that is doing just enough damage that these pushes are doing it. By the way, Charge is going to come down, so he's getting Blink into Charge. Charge is very good at kind of dismantling 2-base pushes.
Yeah, Charge with a pretty fast forage, too. So Classic likely going to be trying, okay, I was going to say, likely going to try and rely purely on gateway units to defend whatever the push is from Clem, but Classic once more throws down the robotics bay. And this is a lot of investment from Classic. By the way, nice pickoff at Clem with lightning fast reactions, able to save this medevac. I feel like basically 9 times out of 10, if Terran gets caught like that with a medevac, it is going down, but Clem just a little bit too quick. I don't know about this here for Classic. This is a little bit scary for me. Going for the Forge, trying to get a +1 upgrade, as well as teching into Colossus.
Dude,
it's a lot of resources that are spent.
5 gates, man. 5 gates is a lot. It's a lot of charge lots. He's not making probes. Or no, sorry, he's making 3 probes. He's literally making a probe out of every nexus. Sorry. I was going to say, maybe you get just a few more, and then you lock in and get ready for this push you know is coming.
I think he's going to get enough to saturate the mineral line here on the 3rd base, which is 4 more probes, and then cut. So right around 57, 58 probes likely going to be the final number here for Classic, up until he gets some more scouting information from Clem. And Clem is going for a bit more of a slow burn build with this. It's not the super fast siege tank push that we've had in some of these other PvT games. So it's going to hit later, and it's actually going to hit on the back of a couple of medevac drops. So maybe not even something completely committed here for Clem.
Yeah, talk about a late push, though. Got to be a little uncomfortable if you're Classic, right? You're like, where is this attack coming? Now, notice that, you know, for instance, in Clem's games against Cure, he actually had, like, spotter stalkers outside the base. Classic did not do that. Now, I think it's not going to matter because there's a Colossus here. I think Clem just tries to do whatever damage he can do. And now the rest of the push is coming. Oh, my God, and these Widow Mines are right in the front.
Both Widow Mines fall. They do trade out with Stalkers, though. And Thermal Lance is about halfway done.
Oh. He's going to hit down here. The split push is set up. Remember that, you know, a lot of the important tools that Protoss have here can't be in 2 spots at once, right? You might want to look at wherever the Colossus is and just go to the other direction. But Classic's position, his formation's been pretty good. By the way, Classic taking 6 o'clock. I just noticed this. And hold on, we're going to have a fight right here in the middle of the map. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah, Classic's going to pounce forward with these Stalkers, able to snipe one siege tank immediately, but the good focus fire by Clem really neutralizes the Stalker count right now. And Clem simultaneously is going to attack the expansion at 3 o'clock. That will force a recall. A medevac drop gets picked off in the main base with 2 Widow Mines.
Oh my God, this is A-moved, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to happen whenever you're trying to deal with all of these different fires like this is Classic. This is why Clem's playstyle is so good, is that he just leverages his better multitasking to try and force errors out of opponents. But besides losing the Colossus, I will say that Classic dealt with that surprisingly well.
Yeah, I think Classic is almost there as far as where he needs to be tech-wise. He needs to get this this base set up here. Classic actually gonna, oh, nice, snipes that. I don't think there's anything that can even save this command center.
I almost feel like we're going to have a base trade against Aceless. Recall is on cooldown right now. The 4th base here at 6 o'clock is vulnerable. The base at 3 o'clock also vulnerable. This command center gets picked off.
I mean, he's playing the game of his life here. Classic going to close in on this base now. Not a whole lot here. You know, the thing is, I don't know that Clem has enough to take out everything that's over here. Oh my God, he's force fielded the ramp. Although I think they can fit in the side, yeah. But you get it, you know, he's going to have a lot of workers killed there. Classic playing one of the best PvTs I've ever seen him play. And that's all you got to do. You've reset him to 1. You're still on 3. You're still drinking in the resources of 3 bases while he's on his 1 that is going to mine out soon.
Yeah, and Clem needs to take a favorable fight immediately if he wants to stay in this game. So Clem is going to be pushing forward right now. Widow Mine's actually getting caught right there by the Zealots and the Colossus on the front line. Both get picked off. Only 2 Vikings here. Marauder's trying to flank, but Classic blinking back, able to isolate that force, take out all of those units. And the bio from Clem, it's already injured from the stim. It's going to stim once more. I'm not sure if there's enough force field. Energy recharge will give enough force field.
Oh, okay. Nice shot on the disruptor. Oh, Classic oversteps, comes back out on the map. Zealots here in the main. 10 more SCV kills. All Classic has to do is hold this.
I think Classic's done it. Man,
GG.
Beautifully played there by Classic.
Yeah, I love it. That was great.
Classic just rolled with the punches basically everywhere. The only mistake I can point to is him losing the Colossus in the center of the map, but he was able to deflect multiple attacks in multiple locations, including the Widow Mine drop in the main base, that were all happening at the exact same moment. I think if somebody tells you, like, hey, you're going to lose 1 Colossus, but you'll defend everything else, will you take that trade right now as a Protoss on 3 bases versus Terran on 2? You're like, oh yeah, I'll take that trade 100 times out of 100. Even though it wasn't perfect play, it was certainly enough there for Classic in game number 2. And now we're going to match point on 10,000 feet. Loser of this upcoming map will be out of the GSL Code S here in Season 2. The winner will advance to face Cure in the final match.
Clem looking a little frustrated here. You know, he's not, I don't know, you know, the Terrans clearly think that these two-base plays are the way to do it. Classic just kind of an opaque Iron Fortress back there. Just knew kind of, you know, where to roughly stay. Took a couple bruises here and there, but basically never gave up his tech. Knew when to counterattack and when to run the hell back home. All right, let's go. Game 3.
All right, game number 3 loaded in on 10,000 feet. Classic spawning in the top left is the blue Protoss. Clem, the red Terran, down in the bottom right. It's going to be an early probe scout again here for Classic, and I think that makes sense. I mean, the probe was such a disruption there in game number 2, thinking back to the SCVs that weren't mining, that weren't getting repaired.
Okay. Once again, and we're going to see this probably every game today, guys, is the probe scout over here to see if the barracks is going to be thrown down. And when I say thrown down, I mean, like, is he hiding a barracks on the map or not? I don't think we're going to have any proxies, by the way, today.
Yeah, there haven't been very many TVP proxies yet. It's all been pretty straight up, or at least as straight up as these 1-1-1 or other siege tank builds can be.
So, yeah, you know, I don't know what Clem did wrong there. I felt like he could have hit earlier. You know, when you do decide to split push and it doesn't work, it does give them ample time to kind of set up and be ready. One thing I noticed, by the way, from Classic, and I was actually criticizing him for this, and now that the game's done, I think I might have actually been wrong, and I think this actually it might have been why he was so able to hold the push, is what Clem does when he plays PvT is he actually has like 5 or 6 spotter stalkers watching when you're going to move out of the front of your base. And so the idea is, like, if you send like an SCV or Marine out, they just kill it. If you see the tanks come, you blink away or run away. And it's an old way to kind of deal with Terran. You kind of force him to siege, you force him to stim, and you just disengage. And Classic did not do that. Classic kept everything back at home. But the reality was, Classic held off every drop better. Classic was basically ready to defend his second or his third base every time. Classic had maybe 1 or 2 units out spotting and just using his recalls over and over and over to basically keep stuff back at home. And then when the push came, and maybe it would have been different if Clem didn't try to hit both or 2 different locations at the same time. But, you know, by the time Clem had failed at that and then regrouped his whole army, Classic just ran over him. He just smashed him.
Yeah, there wasn't enough disruption in the Protoss early game economy for such a slow build push, I think, there for Clem. And Clem was able to get a couple of probe kills in here and there with the harassment that he went for, but thinking back to the medevac drop and really everything else that Clem tried, Classic was eventually able to clean everything up. Even the medevac that died all the way at 9 o'clock there on that previous map. Okay, nice early start here for Clem, able to pick off a probe for free with the initial Reaper here at the natural expansion. Now Clem is continuing to develop in kind of the normal way. He's adding in the Stargate. We do have a Hellion, which I think is likely to be parked at one of these third base locations, just to try and delay the expansion process of Protoss a little tiny bit. But the main tech coming out is likely going to be from the Stargate and the next add-on here on the factory. And with the Tech Lab, again, I think it's looking more and more like we'll have another siege tank push.
Okay. Just make sure the damage is evenly distributed there. And you're going to be good. Once again, Blink coming down. We don't know what kind of game it is when we see just the Blink. We need to see how many gates. Is there going to be a third base? He's going to try to clear up the Adept. And, you know, in this tit for tat, once again, Clem kind of comes out. Oh, no, never mind. It's a bit of an exchange. The Reaper trying to run underneath the legs of the Stalker and escape. Did not work. And so Classic's going to go for, I think it's 2-gate expand. 2-gate or 3-gate. 3-gate's more popular now, but 2-gate. 3-gate might be the proper adjustment from like the last 6 to 8 months of Terrans kind of getting and doing too much damage. But I think this is 2-gate, is it not?
Yeah, it is 2-gate.
So this is the older iteration, which is fine if you get away with it, by the way.
Right. I mean, the
Like,
early game has been so good for Classic. Why not
Yeah.
go for the 2-gate?
Yeah, so I mean, this is fine, right? It's not like the newest build is the best build. It depends on, like, okay, are Terrans playing? They're pushing out a little bit slower because the Protosses are expanding a little bit slower. And of course, does Clem get a read on that? So more gates are going to come down. The Robo coming along here as well. And we have the Raven, which the Raven is just going to stay back and throw auto turrets and try to get, like, you know, if you can get like 2 or 3 probe kills with an auto turret, that's great. Now Stim starts over here in Clem's space. I'm like having such a hard time because he keeps race switching. Who's who? Not always, but a lot of times Stim is kind of the signifier of when the push is going to come. It's why you see it sometimes people get it very late, because they can get all the other tech upgrades, and then when Stim finishes, that's kind of the last thing you need. You don't really need Stim to defend, right? And so I would assume that as we get closer to Stim, we'll see if he actually pushes out. In fact, okay, he's going to send stuff now. So this is basically when you leave your base on most maps. I think this map is one of them. If you leave when Stim's halfway done, by the time you get there, Stim is done. Now, there are tricks that Protoss can do where they'll run up there and, like, attack some of your stuff, and then you're like, oh, I don't have Stim, I can't really take a fight. And you can see why, you know, Protosses are trying to kind of map onto the Terrans build their own charge, because they need to have something that can basically swarm that.
Yeah, Clem for now just posturing in the center of the map. Classic teching into Colossus. The first Colossus is about a third of the way done, and Classic is expecting the fight to happen pretty soon, I think, which is why he is not going into Thermal Lance just yet. He wants to make sure every single resource available is spent on holding the first push, although I say that now he starts Thermal Lance right before the push is about to hit. Making me eat my words a little bit, Classic, but let's see if Classic is going to have enough. There's only one siege tank here in the very front, so not a long-range firepower here for Clem. But with Combat Shield and Sim done, and a lot of Widow Mines also, plus these 3 auto turrets here in the back line. The entire mineral line's disrupted, and now Clem's going to use that to skirt forward with the bio, trying to find an angle. It is very hard for Classic to attack into this because of the Widow Mines.
Yeah, the auto turrets were really nice there, because you could see the army that retreated back actually ran into that. Well, and there was already 5 workers killed. Now, Classic's going to hit from behind here, and it's just 1 tank. The Widow Mine's going to do some decent damage. The Zealots just disappearing, and the spreader from the infantry looking pretty good, but there's no more heal on the medevacs.
Yeah, Clem going to try and retreat away with 1 full medevac, and 2 medevacs now heading into the main base here. Oh, there's 1 pylon powering, what is that, 5 gateways and a robo bay?
So he's going to recall. He's not targeting that pylon. He's going to relocate as well. Oh.
I think Clem was anticipating the recall to be a little bit bigger. It was only a couple of stalkers, but you can't take that risk right here as Clem. So instead, Clem pulling back for now. Just going to take the guaranteed damage of being able to snipe something like a gateway, like a cybernetics core here.
You know, getting the cybernetics core is super annoying. Again, Protoss is on 3 bases. So, you know, you haven't really stopped Protoss from getting where they need to be. Granted, there's been a lot of damage dealt. You know, over time. I think Classic is still healthy. Auto turret's going to come down again. And you got to be careful when you commit with these medevacs here, because sometimes you move in and you can't get back out. Huge connects there.
Yeah, the connections with the Widow Mines were good, but the Colossus cleaning them up before they're able to retreat away safely is still a win here for Classic. This medevac at the 12 o'clock position so low on HP here between the natural expansion and the 3rd base, and Classic is feeling confident enough to take another expansion.
Yeah, well, you know, he's just growing, right? Now, he might do this counterattack, and this actually could work. I think that Clem may have overextended in too many different places and kind of lost too many big chunks of his army. And, you know, sometimes that counter poke, a lot of times this is how PvT goes now, is you kind of go, is he done? I think I've basically stopped him. He's got to expand now, right? Unless he's going to stay on 2 bases forever, in which case I win anyways, by the way. So he's going to come in now. Zealot charge, not quite able to connect with this. There are Vikings out, but the Stalker count is so high, I don't know that they can really hit the Colossus. So he's going to drive this back. There is a drop over here, and there are probes coming back to try to defend. The question now is going to be, does Clem have enough to actually protect his natural?
Classic going to try and attack into this position now. Stalker's going to start chipping away at the barracks and the bunkers there on the front line. Actually, Classic just thinks better of it. He says he's got enough damage done. Pulls back for now. That's going to force Clem forward, then Classic re-engages, blinks forward, snipes the Viking. Now pulling back once more. There's a Warp Prism with this army, so Sentry's actually going to be warped in here on the front line, and that might just really section off small chunks of this army. By the way, Clem behind all of this, I think he just loaded up a couple of medevacs and sent them here at the top side. Yes, he did. So the defense a little bit more meager here at the natural. This is a very scary position for Clem to be in, but he feels like he needs to get something done.
Yeah, he's going to drop in here again. Going to kill off some of the workers, and then with the recall baited, he's going to pull out. Now, we have Clem regrouping. He's going to try to move up. And, I got to say, this is like a really almost impossible position here for Clem. Oh, God, he's got to get those medevacs away. Clem doesn't have a third base. Oh my God.
Oh, it's a death trap. That's 20 supply that's going to get cleaned up.
Did you see Clem's face?
It's painful. I mean, it's 20% of his entire army that just fell in those 2 medevacs. That is so much damage done. Because really, Clem, even though economically he's been in such a bad position over this game, he's only just now starting to establish this third base. At least Clem had the army supply advantage. That was the one thing he had going in his favor. And now falling with 20 supply, those 2 medevacs, Classic has then been able to even it up. And there's a Dark Shrine coming in too. Clem, given the position that he's in, I don't think he has any chance of saving scans. You got to be dropping mules as soon as that energy comes online to try and regain lost ground. We don't even have missile turrets here at the natural expansion or the third base or the main base. 4 DTs could be huge. 2 of them will drop in the main base. 2 will run into the natural expansion and the third.
Yeah, and he's going to make sure these DTs are split in such a way it's going to be hard to take them out with 1 scan. And again, you have a Terran that is so behind here, that is just trying to get back into this game. And really, it might be a push, which is where he's able to do that. And again, he just runs when the scans come down, gets a couple of kills on SCVs, runs away again. This is forced to lift off. This is so bad. I think if Clem can't do something like right now, this game is probably over. I mean, Clem has been slowed down so successfully here by Classic.
The DC is even denying the missile turrets at the third base there for Clem. And so Clem, he's sending the army here forward. A lot of Vikings in position to try and intercept this Colossus. The Liberator's also sieging up. The army of Clem is still powerful here. Classic might be maxed, but he doesn't have a lot of resources in the bank. It's all about these first armies.
Oh my God, there's even some hallucinated Colossi here, so it's not clear where the Vikings, where they want to hit. He takes the Nexus out, but it's still 4 base. Oh, I guess he's actually not mining from that one. It is really 3 base versus 3 base when you look at it that way. Okay, Clem got in. He got something done. He didn't really lose his army. He didn't really have to trade it out. Oh, here we go. Another big attack coming in here now. Classic. Looked like he was going to overextend for a second here. Unfortunately, the Colossi that are real are the ones that are going to be absorbing the shots, while the hallucinated ones go almost untouched.
Great sense there by Clem, picking off 2 of the 4 Colossi. The DPS of the Protoss army is significantly lower now. This Classic was really just trying to catch Clem there in the middle of the map, but the trade going so well for Terran, and now this Protoss army is in kind of an awkward position. But Clem has to be so careful with the stims. He's been committing so much starport production time to Vikings and the Liberators that the healing is a little bit meager right now for Terran, and the Liberators getting entrenched in a very good position. Classic is going to pull back. Clem still has a chance in this game. Classic below max supply right now. Army supplies advantaging Clem. Classic going to try and engage onto this, but he doesn't want to enter the liberation zones. It is too much damage from above.
The Colossi can't really do any more damage. There's still 4 more Vikings here. They're getting their picks off. He's going to go, almost dives in. Is this an overextension? Oh no, the battery's going to heal that Colossus. Oh God, okay, he takes that one out. There's 1 more Colossus here. After that, it's just these units. I don't know that they can engage underneath these Liberators. The Liberators have completely flipped the game upside down.
Yeah, the Stalkers cannot deflect the Vikings because of the Liberators, and so every single Colossus now has fallen. It's just gateway units here for Classic. Clem pushing back in. Liberators all getting sieged up right now in front of the third base, and Classic once more has to retreat. His army supply has cratered to 48, and Clem, even though his bio army, the medevacs have no energy left to heal it, I'm not sure there's enough damage in Classic's army to take this down.
I cannot believe Clem is doing it. And there just isn't the right composition here anymore to fight this. He's going to end up taking out this base down here. One would imagine if the infantry attack and he wants to go for the robo first. So he is going to take that Nexus down. Full send counterattack here from Classic. This means the natural is going to fall. Never mind. I got to stop deciding that things are going to happen before they actually happen.
No, Clem is instead going to pull back. This is a great move coming in here by Classic because the threat of the DTs is still massive. If you lose the orbital commands, you also lose your detection here as Clem. So Clem needs to be so careful on the defense. And now Classic on the hunt, trying to isolate small sections of Clem's army like this to take the favorable trades. Clem will be able to stabilize by pulling everything back home. But look at the minimap. Classic is double expanding on the left side. If Classic can resaturate all of these bases once these Nexus get up, his army potential can be huge. And Clem, I mean, the bio is so low just from stimming.
Yeah,
there's going to continue chasing.
There's no medevac energy in most of these medevacs. DT is coming here again. He will be able to save the turret in time. Clem right now with 25 SCVs. The thing is, the tech is no longer as powerful. He's switched into Templars, by the way, which is probably the right call. He's going to continue the DT slow drip. Clem barely on a base. Clem might have a better army. He certainly has a bigger army, but it depends on how Psystorms connect.
Templar here on the front line. Keep in mind the bio's already been so low on HP from all this stimming, all of the engagements that have taken place, with only 4 or 5 medevacs to heal them up.
By the way, the bottom left is an empty base.
Oh yeah, there's a Marine down there.
So it's not like he's mining from that. Classic, oh my god. Another nice storm. Remember that a lot of times when Protoss get ahead in bases, you can just try to counterattack over and over again. You have more mining bases. It's harder for the Terran to wipe out as much stuff. We have a drop inbound here. This base, which was just remade. Oh, he's gonna ditch the push there. He needs to run back.
You know, it almost feels like Clem is trying to play a game of whack-a-mole right now. These expansions that just keep popping up everywhere on the map. And Classic trying to go for these counterattacks. The Liberators are going to siege up once more. The Zealots take a really good trade, getting full surface area on the Marauders and the Marines. Classic just trying to keep Clem occupied. So the expansions lining the left side of the map can fully saturate, can start mining, and Classic will have the income to actually replenish his army, because right now it's basically just Zealots. Classic has 24 Zealots, and that is almost all of his army supply.
Yeah, he's going to continue to move up. Again, Classic is giving up a decent amount here and there to try to keep this whole momentum going. Clem is going to once again move in. There are 2 mining bases, because the 9 o'clock base is not being mined. Right, this one right here, this base is not being mined from. So we don't really count that. You have to actually get the workers over there to do that. It is 65 probes, 26 SCVs. He's moving back again. This Marauder and Marine are going to tip Clem off to that. Clem can never quite get enough to both attack and defend.
Classic's coming in for another counterattack. Stalker's able to take out both of these Liberators here at the third base. A lot of SCVs are falling. Clem at the same time will be able to take out the base at 9 o'clock. So Classic losing one more expansion. The Mules are going to drop and try and resaturate up this base. Clem down to 12 SCVs. His army is still better in a straight up fight because it's basically just Zealots here for Classic. The problem for Clem is that he never has the chance just to push across the map and take the trades that he wants, because Classic just keeps counterattacking, just combining their names.
Yeah. Okay, but he's going to move out now, and I don't see any army to counterattack here, which means that Classic probably has to actually fight this. And it's a lot of Terran here. Will the storms be good enough? The kiting is pretty crazy.
Kiting is huge right now for Clem, but the 2-2 upgrades for Classic are really paying off. Look at how long it takes the Marauders to actually chew through all of these Zealots.
Oh my god, he's dropping over here, but there should be a storm from this Templar.
Energy recharge on the Templar. Clem's going to pivot back into the main base and now try and snipe this Nexus here in the center. This game is crazy. Stalker's recall here into the main base, as well as some Zealots going to try and pick off those medevacs. More probes falling.
A massacre on the probes there. He's going to pick up. He's going to get zoned all the way into the corner. Can he even get out of here? Is the question I'm wondering. Is he actually just stuck here?
Clem with his face in his hands there. I think the Medivacs got cleaned up in the main base of Classic, and now his entire army is isolated
he's
on this top side.
He's painted himself into a corner here. And that's going to be it. GG. Classic defeats Clem. And the legacy of GSL, no foreigner, winning our tournament happens yet again here in 2026.
I mean, Clem made a great run of it here on the round of 8, getting so close to taking down Classic. I mean, you could see Classic with a sigh of relief. That was a crazy game between these two. And honestly, Clem was basically down and out. A heroic attempt to try and come back.
It was a great game.
He made a game out of something where he never should have had any chance to close the distance. Clem somehow found a way to do it. The army movement, especially by Clem when he was pushing in and taking out those bases and finally was able to disrupt the main army of Classic, was perfect.
Clem's super aggressive, getting out there, taking whatever fights he could, but ultimately it was one of those games where Protoss was too big to fail. All you had to do once you saw the Terran leave was counterattack from the other side. Because at that point in time, Clem, that's his only mining base. He has to send stuff back to protect it. And then, Protoss, even if they're on 3 extra bases and one of them isn't mining, it doesn't matter. You're still taking in more resources.
Yeah, the counterattacks coming across the map by Classic just really proved to be the crucial nail in the coffin.
Short break, guys. When we come back, our final best of 3 of the night.